Hey everyone, I'm Andi, homeschool mom to 5, ages 10, 8, 6, 5, and 3. And today I'm talking about how we finish our homeschooling year strong. I'm a part of a group called homeschoolscopes.tv. It's a group of homeschool moms who Periscope and who don't Periscope, who just like watching others who are on Periscope. So the group is over on Facebook. If you're not a part of it, head over there. It's a super fun group. And they have a challenge every week. And this week last night they did a skip where 5 different women talked about the same topic. And so I'm going to talk about that today. Yep, thank you for putting that up, homeschoolscopes.tv. And so they were talking about how we finish the school year strong. If you're just joining, hi. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm Andi. You can find me on Instagram at appleandi. And I do have a blog, A Nest Full of Squishers, and I try and get these videos up over there with any links that I talk about. Hi, Faith. So when I first saw this topic, finishing the school year strong, I thought, I can't talk about that. It doesn't apply to me because we school year round. And then last night when I was watching, one of the moms was talking about how she schools year round. And I thought, oh, well, I guess I could have done this. And she talked about just different ways that she finishes different aspects of the year. Okay, go on. Yes, you guys. How she finishes little bits year round. Hang on just a second. You guys can go have some Cheez-Its. Can you close that door, please? Thank you. So what we do is we have a 6-week chunk of school, and then we take a week off, and then we go back and forth doing that throughout the year. We have a big break from Thanksgiving all the way through the new year, and then we have a longer break for summer. We usually take about 4 weeks off. So that leaves about 2 weeks extra throughout the year that I can take a couple days off here and there and fiddle around with that. But so how do we finish? Because we just kind of keep going. And right now we use a bulk of our curriculum is from Ambleside Online. And I have a conglomeration of year 0 all the way through year 5. Just so that I can make sure that all of my children are learning together. We just kind of overlap different years for most of us. So we don't really finish one year and move on to the next year. But when we do finish something, my daughter finished reading, I can talk about why we school year round. When my daughter, she finished her free read today. They have a book that they just read on their own. It's a book that I let them choose from a selection of books, and she finished it today. So we were all celebrating and cheering her on. My son finished part of his typing. What? Ask Lorelai if she can help. Okay. My son finished a typing lesson today, and we were all cheering him on, and he did so great because he was really struggling getting past this one lesson. So we were cheering him on. So when we do finish something, we celebrate with each other. If one child is finishing it, or if we're all finishing a book. When we finish one of our read-alouds, we stop and we just admire the book that we just finished, and we talk about how great it was, or what we liked and what we didn't like, and we look forward to those new things, or the completion of something because we enjoyed it, and then we look forward to the things that are coming. And that's something else that we do when we get new books, because I order books all year long. Anytime we get something in the mail, we all huddle around and open it together, and it's like Christmas morning every time the UPS man comes. Whether it's supplies or books, it's something new for our school, and so we look at it and we get excited about it to get to start using this new item. And I have a sensory bin and a calendar that get changed every month, and those kind of go along with the seasons. And the children get excited about the new thing that's coming in the sensory bin, or the new pictures that are going to be up on the calendar. And we look forward to the holidays and birthdays that are going to be celebrated that month. So those are things that just kind of keep us going and keep us excited, and not get stuck in the mundane of we never finish school. We just keep going to the next chunk of 6 weeks of school. So last night there was a couple things that a few of them talked about that really struck me. Someone talked about making a list of all the books, and I don't remember who it was, making a list of all the books that they read, and that's something that we do. Anytime we finish a book, I add it to our list, and that's encouraging to me because I can look back if I'm starting to feel in a slump that we're not getting anything accomplished, we're not doing anything. I can take a step back and look at that long list of all the books that we've read just this year. And that's really encouraging to me to see, wow, we've done at least this. If nothing else, we've read all of these books and we've learned from them. Alicia Hutchinson was talking about at the end of the year, it's basically a show-off party. And she invites people over, they put all of their art projects out, any big projects that they've worked on. And I don't always list picture books. Sometimes I do. I kind of want to start keeping track of picture books, but we read so many picture books that it's hard for me to write them all down. I don't make a list for each individual child. I just make a big list for all of us. So the books that they read on their own don't go on those lists. It's just the books that we read together for our read aloud, which is still a lot. So yeah, if I was keeping track of everyone's list, it would be a huge long list. So, but Alicia was talking about how she invites people over and they have a big show off that they get to see everything that they completed for the year, and that was a great thing. You could do any time during the year, even if you just finish something big and you want to show off what you guys have learned. That would be exciting to share with others. And Brandy Jones was talking about when her children finish things, she will make a certificate for them. And my children love certificates. Like, few of our curriculums come with a certificate of completion when they finish the book, and they hang on to those. They have a little binder that they keep different school papers in, and those are one of the things that they always keep and they treasure. Just this simple piece of paper that shows I finished it and I completed it. And this verse kept going through my mind when I first saw that this was going to be the topic. 2 Timothy 4 verse 7, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And I know that's talking about your spiritual aspect, but as homeschoolers, we are instilling these things into our children, and we're instilling that love of Christ. And so homeschooling is a part of our spiritual journey of instructing our children the way that we want them to go. So that was just one of those verses that was just sticking to me, sticking with me the whole time. Just, we're doing this for a purpose. It's not just to check it off and say, yep, we finished science, we finished history, we got the math taken care of, and turn in any lesson plans or any requirements that we have to for the state. But we're doing this for a reason, that we're educating our children and helping them to become adults, successful adults in the future. So someone asked why we started homeschooling year-round. And years ago, when we first started homeschooling, I would do September through May into June a little bit, and just kind of go with the public school calendar. And I would spend a couple weeks in the summer, and I would try and plan out the whole school year. And anytime we would get sick, or if we would take an unexpected vacation, or if something just wasn't going on track the way it was supposed to, all of those plans, they were just trash because I couldn't follow them anymore, because I had planned them out so far in advance that there was no room for life. And I had heard several different people talking about schooling in a rotation, that you do school for a few weeks and you take a break. And so I tried it a couple different ways over the next few years, and 6 weeks on, 1 week off really works well. I've gotten myself to the point now that lesson planning, I still do a big chunk of lesson planning in the summer. I'll just go through the Ambleside reading list, Ambleside Online, and I'll pick out all the books that I want to read, and I'll start ordering those. We're getting close to the end of our reading list that I had picked out for this year, so I'm going to start looking for next year so I can start buying those books and seeing which ones we already have, which ones we want to add to our library, which ones we'll get from the library. And so for history, I'll just go through and I'll mark all the activities that we want to do. So then throughout the year, all I have to do, I've already done that pre-work for myself, so now all I have to do is make sure, yep, we have that book, I don't need to order it. I kind of know which activities we're already going to do, and I can just pull out those, make sure that I've got everything on hand if I need anything in addition to what we already have. So going year round, I feel like because we never stop, we never have to do that catch-up time at the beginning of the school year. It's really hard when you've taken a big break, and I will say in January when we come back after Christmas, because that's our biggest break, it takes us about 2 weeks before we're really back into the groove of school. But 2 weeks is not, no, I just use their books. I don't follow their guide for scheduling of how often we read. The only thing I'm using this year is Age of Fable for my oldest. She's just doing, I kind of broke it out for her, how often or how many pages she should read each time it comes up in her loop. Otherwise, I just have a whole huge list and I just pick off of those books throughout the year. And so now we're dwindling down to the last few books, and I'm trying to figure out which ones am I going to read out loud, which ones are we going to listen to. And so being able to not have to keep reteaching everything that we learned last year means that we can skip over chunks of our math book. It means that we can just dive right into the new stuff because I don't have to go through a lot of times the first 40 lessons of a math book are just review of the last year. And because we don't take a huge break, we don't have to go through those lessons. We can just kind of, I'll skim over them and see which ones we do need to touch on. And then we just jump ahead to where we're starting to learn something new. So that's really the biggest thing that we're never getting out of the practice of learning and being educated. It's making us life learners. And the other thing is the planning for myself. I don't have this weight of I have to plan the whole year right now because I didn't have time throughout the school year to stop and plan. But now having that 1 week, I can take a day and just kind of look ahead at the next 6 weeks and get an idea of what's coming up and make sure I have everything on hand. So the planning and not having to reteach for 2 months, a month and a half of the school year. So those two things are the reasons why we started schooling year round. And like I said, we still have a big Christmas break, which is huge for us because we can stop and do anything we want for Christmas. We can decorate, we can enjoy any holiday parties. Nothing is in the way because there's no school during that time. And then in the summertime, we still have a chunk of time off, but it's not 2 or 3 months off. So it's just about 4 weeks that we take off in the summer. So, and during those times, we're still doing some read alouds, but I don't really push it. Usually they're just in the car. Do I plan the week off around how, you mean like throughout the rest of the year? Not necessarily. And that's where the way the calendar falls, we have about 2 weeks that we can play with still. So if my husband's home for a holiday, we'll take the day off and I don't have to worry about trying to make it up anywhere else. So having those 2 weeks throughout the year, we can either take an extra week off and have a 2-week break sometimes, or we just sprinkle those extra days throughout the year. So do you guys have any other questions about schooling year round? It's been really beneficial. Just you don't have that. There's also not that struggle of getting the children back into the groove of school. Like I said, January is the biggest struggle that we have. But right now in the spring, it's hard. It's hard to keep going because we just want to be outside. Today we had a hard day in school. We just all wanted to sit outside and watch the birds today. They were beautiful. And yesterday we did sit outside and watch the birds. Yeah, so that's what I was saying, how we finish. We don't finish because we just keep going. But every time we finish a book or we finish a curriculum, we make a big deal of it. Yeah, we do subjects. We have a loop. I did a video. You can find it on my Catch account. That's all right. Go ahead and go back and watch the beginning. I talk about our loop scheduling and how so we don't do every subject every day. We do read alouds and we do math and every day. And I'm actually we're getting back into our history curriculum full force now, and I'm realizing I need to have a little bit of history every day. So I'm playing with our loop a little bit. Yeah, I'll do a different video about our morning time. We break our day into two parts. We do morning time, which is where we're doing all of our stuff together, and that's where a big part of our loop comes into play. And then in the afternoon, my children have individual loops that they do, that they work on their individual subjects. So even though their loops all look the same, they're doing their own math curriculum, they're doing their own spelling level, things like that. So that's how we break up our day into two parts, and it works really well for us. So yeah, go to my Catch account. It's catch.me/appleandigould. So you can find the loop scheduling over there, and I do have them organized by school tips and games. We love playing games. And there's a couple different organizing and books, I think. So you can find it under the homeschooling tips. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. And so finish strong. I'm going to read this verse one more time because this is really, I feel like it's a good thing to hang on to if you're trying to finish strong. 2 Timothy 4, verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. So when you're starting to struggle... when you're starting to struggle, yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you're starting to struggle about finishing up the year, just remember why you're doing this and hold on to that truth that you are teaching your children for a purpose. So thank you so much. Again, I'm Andi, and you can find my alarm's going off. You can find me at appleandi on Instagram, and you can find me on my blog, A Nest Full of Squishers.
Bye.
I'll see you later.
Bye. Can we watch it, Mom?
Hang on.